It is 8:30 and we're ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call the Board of Commissioners meeting for Friday, September 23rd, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. to order. Myra, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Simmons.
Present.
Commissioner Gladney.
Present.
Commissioner Galladay. Commissioner Costello. Commissioner Cox.
Here.
Commissioner Windmiller.
Present.
Commissioner Beach.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Present. Excuse me.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
We have a quorum and can proceed.
Fine, thank you. Myra, was there any public comments provided for today's meeting?
No comments were submitted.
Very good, thank you. At this time, I would ask for approval of the minutes of the June 24th, 2022 Board of Commissioners open meeting. The June 24th Board of Commissioners meeting minutes have been provided for your review to the board. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I need a motion.
More moves for approval.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Myra, roll call.
A voice vote is sufficient.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Next, approval of the minutes of the August 11th, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Commissioners, open meeting. The minutes from the August 11th meeting, special meeting of the Board of Commissioners and open meeting have been provided for your review by the board. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, can we get a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor,
Second.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Next, approval of the minutes of the September 7th, 2022 special meeting, Board of Commissioners, open meeting. The minutes from the September 7th, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Commissioners, open meeting have been provided for review by the board. Are there any corrections to these minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Have a second? And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Item 7, the report of the president, Mr. Roach.
Morning, Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. I have 4 items to brief you on. First of all, I had the pleasure of attending the Hospitality Superheroes event done by Explore St. Louis and the CVCC. Actually, 2 of our teams received Hospitality Superheroes awards. The Arch team received an award for their great job in welcoming visitors to the Arch. But also, Michelle, who is one of our allied security guards, also received an award. You may have seen her write-up where she helped a customer during the running event in St. Louis who was visually impaired and helped her make her way so that she could watch the event. A really extraordinary circumstance of going above and beyond in customer service. It was really fun to attend that event. Next week, I will be out of town in Springfield for the Missouri Public Transportation Association meeting. That is unique in that this year we have been successful at getting some very valuable Missouri money funding. We have always enjoyed great funding from the state of Illinois. We'd love to get Missouri caught up, but through the work of this organization, we are proceeding, and I'm looking forward to going to that event Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Also, I've been working over the past week with both Jim Brown, our federal lobbyist, and the Jerry Costello group, trying to be sure to secure the emergency funding. So that's emergency funding relief under 5374 for FTA. We do need to get that funding put into the continuing resolution in Washington, D.C. this week. We have been working tirelessly. The good news is that we have found some partners across the country to add some of that language to the continuing resolution. One of which is, for instance, the state of Mississippi in trying to find some funding for their, in Jackson, Mississippi, there's some problems associated with their water system. So we are partnering with other organizations, really municipal entities across the country to try to move forward on emergency funding. This is very similar to what was done under Hurricane Sandy. You may recall several years ago, 5374 funding was put into a continuing resolution to help fund the Hurricane Sandy relief many years ago on the East Coast. But perhaps most exciting this morning is our Metro Security partners were named under two really significant nationally recognized awards for their work over the past several years. They received an award from a national organization for Outstanding Security Partnership and Outstanding Security Team within the United States. These are international awards that are given out in different areas, and we really are humbled that this team that has worked very, very hard to get this to move forward with safety and security on Metrolink and Metrobus, and this recognition, I think, is really it's deserved, and it's deserved from many hundreds of hours of work. Kevin Scott, as you know, our general manager, he is one of those individuals who loves to credit other people. Let me just read a quote from him. Quote, "These awards belong to the men and women who are out there tirelessly on the Metrolink system every single day, working to create a safer, more secure transit environment for our customers," said Kevin Scott, the general manager. You know, Kevin so much doesn't want to recognize himself that he actually is on PTO fishing down in the Lake of the Ozarks today. Otherwise, I would have had him give you that quote himself. But Kevin, along with his team, has worked tirelessly to earn this award. I'm very proud to report to the commissioners that not only are they getting the work done, but getting recognized nationally in this environment. And we're going to try to move that forward and give folks a well-deserved pat on the back. One thing that I really would like to highlight is it isn't just Metro Transit Security getting the award. The Outstanding Security Partnership Award honors an organization that has developed successful partnerships with outside resources to better secure a safer environment for their clients. And the award that we got specifically recognized the partnership and collaboration with public safety, with Metrolink, Metrobus, Allied Universal, and with our regional Metro Transit Task Force, which of course includes St. Louis County PD, the City PD, and of course the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department. So sitting here today to be able to say after many years of work that one of the biggest recognitions is the strength of that partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud of that. And with that, Chair, I yield the floor. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to just piggyback on that, Toby. As I told you, it was my honor to be part of that and draft that recognition letter that's going out to all of our team members for the commissioners. I get to work with Kevin Scott sometimes on a daily basis on the security committee side. And I got to tell you, as what Toby said, he never wants to take credit. He gives it to the entire team. But, you know, as we all know, there's got to be a captain of that ship. And I can tell you from my experiences working with Kevin and Vern, those guys will go down with the ship. You know, it's all about their team. And so I can't be more happier for all of us, the Board of Commissioners, to have these awards for them, because it says that we're moving in the right direction. I hope you all agree with that. Any other comments on Toby's report? Hearing none, we'll go on to item number 8, report of the Operations Committee, and Commissioner Windmiller will provide a report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A virtual meeting of the Operations Committee was held on August 19, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. The draft minutes of that meeting are included in your board packet under item number eight. The Operations Committee approved one item, which is noted on today's agenda as item number 13, the contract modification elevator escalator full maintenance and repair. In addition, at the August meeting, an operations report, including workforce update, was provided by Charles Stewart, Executive Director of Metro Transit. And that concludes my report of the Operations Committee.
Very good. Thank you for that report. The report of the Audit and Finance Administration Committee. Commissioner Beach will give a report.
Thank you, Chairman. A virtual meeting of the Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee was held on August 19th, immediately following the Operations Committee meeting. The draft minutes of that meeting are included in your packet under item 9. The AFA Committee is introducing 3 items on the consent agenda today for consideration, with the committee's recommendation of approval. Those items are under item 12A, attracting and retaining talent. That's resolution 1221. B, contract award diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting and training services for anti-bias, anti-racism training. That's resolution 1222. And C, board policies, chapter 30, audit, finance, and budget, resolution 1223. At the June meeting, several informational items were presented to the committee also, including contract award, fair collection program consultant, internal audit follow-up summary for the 4th quarter, fiscal year 2022, internal audit status, 4th quarter of fiscal year 2022, the internal audit state safety oversight status report for the 2nd quarter of this calendar year, pension plans, 401k retirement plans, saving program, and OPEB trust investment performance update as of June 30th of this year, the quarterly financial statements, the treasurer's report, and the procurement report. This concludes my report for the AFA committee. However, I would like to take a moment for a brief announcement and acknowledgement of an additional award. Our agency received notification on Wednesday from the Government Finance Officers Association that Bi-State Development has been awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2021. It should be noted that this certificate of achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. And on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I'd like to commend our CFO, Tammy Fulbright, for this achievement and thank her for her dedication and commitment to the agency. Well done.
Any reports? Go ahead. Tammy is another one of those stellar individuals that when I call, always answers the phone, and it's really an honor to have her on board with us. And thanks, Commissioner Beach, for that. Does anybody have any comments on that?
Congratulations so much, Tammy. Well deserved.
Very good. Moving
Chair,
right along.
Chair, if
Yes,
I may,
sir.
just very quickly.
Yes,
Tammy, Tammy, very much like Kevin Scott, probably wishes she was off fishing right now, but because we're going to embarrass her as well. But these are the kind of awards. They are the results of literally hundreds of hours of work. These are the kind of individuals that I get worried about in here too much, who are putting in those 60-hour weeks, those long nights, those early mornings. Tammy is one of those individuals. I really do appreciate the comments, recognition of the award, and as board, I'm very proud of our employees who do this every single day, day in and day out. I hope that we deliver the service that the public is asking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Appreciate that. Next, the report of the Safety and Security Committee, and I'll report on that. A virtual meeting of the Safety and Security Committee was held on August 11th, 2022, following a special meeting of the Board of Commissioners. The draft minutes of the meeting are included in the board packet under item number 10. At the August meeting, staff provided a summary of the task force report for the 2nd quarter. An executive session was not held at the August committee meeting. This concludes my report for the Safety and Security Committee meeting. And thank you. Item number 11, adjustment of the consent agenda. Are there any adjustments that need to be made to the consent agenda at this time? Hearing none, if there's no adjustments to the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as referenced in the committee reports and as outlined on the agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you. Next item, contract modification, the elevator escalator full maintenance and repair resolution number 1224. Mr. Cran, do you have comments on this?
Yes, good morning, commissioners. I'm presenting for your consideration a request to authorize a modification to our current contract with ThyssenKrupp Elevator for elevator and escalator full maintenance and repair. At the August 19th Operations Committee meeting, the committee did approve a contract modification for continued maintenance and repair of elevators and escalators that serve Metrolink in an amount not to exceed $600,000 and a contract time extension through November 30th of this year. Subsequent to that committee approval, ThyssenKrupp Elevator has requested that the contract time period be extended through December 31st of this year. The contract amount and the work to be provided have not changed. However, the additional 1 month of time to complete this work is a change that has removed this contract from the consent agenda and requires separate approval. Management is recommending that the Board of Commissioners approve contract modification number 4 with ThyssenKrupp Elevator for the continued maintenance and repair of Metrolink elevators and escalators in an amount not to exceed $600,000 with a contract time extension through December 31st. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions on Tom's report? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Moved.
So moved.
Second.
I do have one question, Tom. The River Park elevator, have we done any more follow-up on that? Has there been any improvements on that you can report on?
Darren Curry is available for comment on this, I believe. Darren, can you step in with that information, please?
Yes, good morning, commissioners. Chairman, we've been working really hard. There's a couple elevators, obviously our grand elevators that have been troublesome, and as well as East Riverfront. We've spent a lot of time working hand in hand with them. As most know, I have an engineer designated just to address the elevators. Prior to, for the last couple of years, we pretty much were reliant on the contractor. We've become very much entrenched in this. We found a lot of issues, quite frankly, with adjustments, lubrications, environmental issues. And this contract extension will actually allow us to get to, allow us time to get our new solicitation out, which is a much more comprehensive and more, instead of reactive, we're actually sit down with a consulting firm to help us with the scope of work so that we can identify problems instead of inspect and wait for it to break and then call outs. So we're really excited that this will improve our reliability of our elevator. So I think overall, we have seen great improvements across the system with the elevator reliability. We still have some troubles, but I do believe with additional adjustments and more comprehensive maintenance, we can actually improve even more than what we already have.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that because, as you know, you and I have talked on the phone several times about that elevator when I get complaints about it, and I appreciate the service as far as getting them out there to correct it. But when we have an ongoing problem, I just like to make sure that we stay on top of it. And if this company is not doing what they're supposed to, then I'm sure you'll stay on top of them. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, ayes have it. Next, the annual approval of the Bi-State Development Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, Resolution number 1225. Mr. Roach, you have a report on this?
Yes, thank you. I talked with Commissioner Simmons. We were able to get approval and a sign-on by our union partners specifically about our safety plan, a very key element that has been dictated to us in kind of a comprehensive safety plan that includes input from our union partners. And we were able to earn that through Mr. Giassi's hard work. And so we did not bring this to committee. I talked to Chair Simmons about that because it means that we can continue to move right into negotiations and Chuck Stewart is doing a great job with that right now. So I do ask that we move this directly to you for approval so that we can have essentially our PTASP put to bed and we can move forward on all other issues. Great work by the team, and we want to just keep moving. Thank you.
Is there any questions to Mr. Roach on that item? If not, I'll need a motion to approve.
Move.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Item 15, fair discount, daily pass, weekly pass, and monthly pass, resolution number 1226. Mr. Roach and Tammy Fulbright, do you have comments on this?
Yes, Chairman, I've asked Tammy to give the presentation on this. Tammy, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Oh.
And I just want to say quickly, I was on mute earlier. I have to say thank you to my whole team because I couldn't do my job without each one of them. So that award is the whole team's effort. So we apologize to bring this next item to the board without going through committee. It's necessary due to time constraints for system changes, packaging of products, and timely delivery of passes to our customers. We're asking for approval of a temporary reduction for the price of the weekly pass from $27 to $15 and the monthly pass from $78 to $50 for the months of November and December. This will provide financial ease to customers during the holiday season and also allow staff to analyze the impact price has on ridership for these two items. If sales remain constant during the price reduction, the expected decrease in revenue is approximately $132,000. We are also asking approval for the permanent reduction for the daily pass from $7.50 to $5. The pilot program for this fare reduction more than doubled sales of the daily pass and increased revenue by 45% when comparing it to FY 2019, a year not impacted by COVID to FY 2022. So we are requesting board approval for the permanent reduction of the daily pass from $7.50 to $5 and a temporary reduction of the weekly pass for the months of November and December from $27 to $15 and the monthly pass from $78 to $50. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Tammy on this proposal?
Just one. You have bundled these together as one motion, I'm assuming, the permanent reduction and the temporary reduction.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Did you hear that, Commissioner Wimmeller?
I did, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Tammy on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second? And all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you, Tammy. And congratulations once again. Item 16, the emergency sole source contract, replacement of the Metrolink, the Bolivar signal house, uninterruptible power source, and automatic transfer switch at the Forest Park Metrolink station. Mr. Roach and Tom, you have some comments on this.
Yes,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Go ahead, Tom, please.
Thank you, Talby. This again is in regard to emergency procurement of critical Metrolink equipment that was destroyed as a result of the July 26th flood. As mentioned, 3 components of our light rail system were damaged beyond repair. It was a signal house, an uninterruptible power supply or UPS, and an automatic transfer switch or ATS. Each of these components was located at the Bolivar junction near the Forest Park Metrolink station. The signal house is necessary for the safe operation of the red line and blue line trains through the junction. The UPS supplies electricity for the signal house and lighting systems in the tunnel. In the event of a power loss from Ameren, the ATS would transfer to a secondary power supply to allow for proper train movement through the junction. These are all critical life safety components of the Metrolink system. And until such time as each of these components can be replaced, Metrolink can only operate under manual block rules with a restricted speed of 15 miles per hour within this area. Bi-State's rail system staff contacted Alstom, the original manufacturer of the signal house, in order to have a replacement, and Dakin TMI for a new uninterruptible power supply and automatic transfer switch. Alstom understands our system design and our operating environment, and awarding the signal house contract to another firm would produce significant delays and duplication of cost. Similarly, only Dakin TMI was able to verify that their UPS could be integrated with a new ATS switch that fits our current footprint and performance needs. So due to the emergency conditions and the need to restore full Metrolink service, the president and CEO waived the normal procurement procedure for replacing these components. Board Policy 50.010, Procurement and Contract Administration, Section M1 states that the procurement rules may be waived under emergency conditions that jeopardize health and safety or that risk the interruption of service. In accordance with this policy exception rule, the board chair was notified of the emergency waiver. The cost of replacing the signal house, UPS, and ATS is approximately $2.9 million. Funding for these projects will be provided through insurance and FEMA. This briefing paper is provided for informational purposes only, and no action is required. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, and Darren is also available to answer technical questions that you may have.
And just information for the board, Mr. Roach did contact me and advised me of this entire situation. So he met all of the requirements that was needed to be. Any other questions? Okay, that was for informational purposes only. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Item 17, implementation of the 457F Executive Deferred Compensation Plan. We'll hear from Diana Bentz and Dave Tobin for comments.
Thank you. Good morning. The purpose of this particular item is to focus on the efforts and capacity for us to attract and retain high-level executives. And so last year, we conducted, in conjunction with the Executive Board Committee and with an outside consulting firm, Lockton, we conducted an executive compensation review. We typically conduct compensation reviews on a regular basis, but had not previously done one for executives. And one of the recommendations that came from this review was to create a deferred compensation plan designed to help with retirement, but also mainly as an attraction and retention tool, especially since we don't have variable pay and we can't offer the typical perquisites that other companies may be able to offer. So in November of last year, we presented this information to the executive committee. December, it went to a special board meeting. And in February of 2022, we presented it to the board and asked for the approval for us to create and implement a 457 plan for our executive management team. So during the past several months, we have worked with a number of different groups, including our internal counsel, external counsel, and various vendors to create a plan document that was shared with you in the board packet. And we have worked with our CEO, CFO, and EVP of Organizational Effectiveness to finalize the plan and to get their guidance. And so essentially what this boils down to is a 457 plan that will recognize the contribution to the successful operation of bi-state development with elective salary deferrals and an associated match, along with a discretionary contribution. I'm going to turn it over to Dave for more of the details on the plan.
Thank you, Diana. Good morning, commissioners. Diana pretty much said it all, but just to kind of reiterate, a 457F plan is a non-qualified plan that allows any eligible participant to defer income on a pre-tax basis to supplement the limit that is currently provided by ERISA for our 401k plan. A non-qualified plan has no compensation or monetary limits. However, the plan sponsor, which would be bi-state, at its sole discretion determines the percentage of income that can be deferred into the plan. Annually, we anticipate that the board or its designee, primarily the executive committee of the board, would determine those who are eligible to participate in the plan. As of the effective date, we would recommend that the participants are the President and CEO of bi-state, as well as the executive vice presidents. As Diana mentioned, there are actually two components of the proposed plan under this 457F. And those components are elective salary deferrals and an employer match. And then secondarily, a discretionary employer contribution. So to distinguish between the two, elective contributions or deferral, are contributions made to the plan at the election of the participant via a salary reduction agreement. And that is also in your packet, or a sample form is in your packet. And that would be in lieu of receiving current cash compensation. However, there is a requirement under a 457F that has to basically be subject to a substantial risk of forfeiture. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. The maximum elective deferral amounts would actually be established by the board or its designee. Again, we recommend the executive committee of the board probably make that decision. The second part of that elective salary deferral would be an employer matching contribution. And this would be determined at the sole discretion of the board or its designee. And there are certain regulatory requirements governing that match, and that's listed in the briefing paper here. But the amount is typically requiring at least a 25% match for any elective deferral. The other secondary component to the plan is a total employer discretionary contribution. This contribution amount will be determined at the discretion of the board or the executive committee of the board. And it would be based upon criteria satisfactory to the board or its designee, again, the executive committee of the board. There is an administration committee that has been proposed that would be comprised of the vice president for talent management, the general counsel, the treasurer, and the director of benefits. Those individual staff members would be responsible for working with the board chair on those criteria and providing information so that the board can make these decisions with information. I mentioned a little bit earlier that this has to be subject to a substantial risk of forfeiture. So essentially what we mean by that is there's a vesting requirement. So the vesting of contributions are subject to a service requirement of 2 years of continuous service. However, there are some caveats to that. So there is an accelerated vesting opportunity in the event of a death, disability, or involuntary termination by bi-state without cause. Other than that, these funds are locked up for 2 years. So we're proposing an effective date of January 1, 2023, based upon fiscal year 22 results. But then the vesting would not occur until January 1 of 2025. And that is when the actual payout would occur. The payout would be made directly to the individual by bi-state, the participant by bi-state, and they would be subject to a taxable consequence at that particular point in time. we're planning to use our current 401k plan administrator, which is Lincoln Financial Group. They can very quickly and easily tie these two programs together for these eligible participants. They are our existing 401k plan vendor, and the cost obviously would be very minimal considering they are an existing vendor for us. We felt that they provide a great level of service, and the idea of being able to have the participants see both their 401k as well as their 457F in a singular view would be helpful to those individuals. So the board action today requested is just a presentation and discussion of this proposed plan prior to seeking approval. You've got a number of items in your board packet, as Diana mentioned. So there is a board policy being proposed. There's the actual deferred compensation plan document, which we worked with Lincoln Financial and their contract vendor, which was USI Consulting. There is an executive summary of this plan to make it a little easier to fully understand. And then there are the actual forms that would be used to administer the plan, a salary reduction agreement, which is required every year with any participant, a notice of award if the board so deems, a discretionary award, match and discretionary award. And then there is a beneficiary election form in the event of the death of a participant. So with that, I'll stop and see if there are any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Diana or for Dave on this proposal?
I've got one, and somebody else go. I don't know if this was in the materials. If it was, I might have missed it. Which employees exactly, not by name, but sort of by classification title, would be eligible for this?
With the effective date of this plan, we're proposing the president and CEO and the executive vice presidents. And there are currently 4 of those.
Okay. Is there a reason it's not going a little further down the line?
Go ahead, Diana.
Okay, so in working with the various entities as we researched, one of the things that was recommended was that we start at least with the top level, highest level in the organization. Start small, and we can always expand on it. It would be more challenging to start large and then to reduce. So that's where we decided to move forward. But there is an option in the plan that we can add people over time.
Okay, I'm supportive, and I think I'm supportive of this in conjunction with what you're about to talk about next, some of the parental leave and tuition assistance, that sort of stuff. Because I think we have to make sure both our hourly employees and our salaried employees have, options to provide for a better future for them and their families. I understand the idea of starting small. I just wanted to put that in folks' minds because I think this could be a good talent acquisition and talent maintaining tool. So wanted to make sure that we're, making this available to as many people beyond just the high ups as we can. But thank you for your answer there and for your work on this.
I think it's fair to add that we do have 401k benefits for any employee.
We have a 401k plan for our salaried employees, right, for IBEW and certain individuals under the caller unit for ATU.
And under the code, besides 401k, and here the 457F, and I'm familiar with the 457B. So those benefits, similar type of retirement opportunities do exist, Sam, for most employees. I think this is just a step above for the executive staff, the 457F, which
I understand that. I just wanted to, I guess how you define executive staff could eventually be a little bit broader, but I'm fine with it. I just wanted to get that in folks' minds. And I know that, there's a defined benefit pension plan as well for some of our ATU folks, which I think is a fantastic benefit. So I like that we have benefits across the spectrum.
And as Diana mentioned, there is latitude within the plan document to add individuals down the road at the discretion of the board.
Very good. Any other questions on this informational only? Yes, go ahead.
I have one. And I don't know if it goes to whom the question is directed, but so on the employee elective deferral, is that also subject to risk if they leave the company?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it is definitely meant to attract people to stay.
Exactly. And that's why the 2-year vesting schedule.
Right.
There are those accelerated options in the event certain things occur.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a question, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
And I don't know the system well enough, but given the anticipated tax changes that could occur in, say, 2025, is there a Roth option blended in someplace in your system to give employees that opportunity to minimize what could be great losses at retirement time just because of tax change?
I can take that question. So yes, our 401k plan does have a Roth option. Okay. The 457F does not have a Roth option, basically, and it's designed to be a very short term, with the 2-year vesting schedule. But yes,
I'm glad to hear. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it's there because it's a real possibility. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this in the very, very near future. So I appreciate the information from Diana and Dave. Thank you very much. That was for informational only. Next item is the unscheduled business, an MOU between Citizens for Modern Transit, St. Clair County Transit District, and Bi-State Development for the development of the transformation project at the Belleville Metrolink station and bus bays, resolutions number 1227. Mr. Roach, you have the floor.
Yes, simply because this is an intergovernmental agreement, does require us to come in front of you, but this is a very successful joint project endorsed by obviously the transit district at really doing some really neat and innovative ideas at some of our stations and enhancing them in look and feel. You may remember we're going to look at doing this same program on the Missouri side in Hanley, but this is obviously on the Illinois side, and we do ask for your approval today. Thank you.
Any questions, Mr. Roach, of this project?
I was there for the unveiling, so this is past tense, or are there going to be additional activities? Are we just playing catch up here?
Yes, sir. We are adding stations as we go on. We did complete it obviously at the Belleville Metrolink station, and now we're going to move forward. I believe the next scheduled one is to do 5th in Missouri. So we're moving one station at a time as the district is endorsing on the Illinois side. We've had 2 successful projects at Belleville and then at Emerson, and now we're catching up on the administrative issues. So thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Roach? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Let the record reflect I abstain from the vote, please. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Oppose? Ayes have it with 1 abstention. Next item, operations report, Mr. Stewart, and this is for informational only. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Commissioners. You have in your packet today the performance summary for July of the current fiscal year and the workforce update for August of 2022. I want to approach this a little differently this morning because I want to bring in some other items that are very important as we move forward and decide how we're going to operate in the future. From a system-wide boarding standpoint, for fiscal year 22, we had over 18 million boardings, 18.5, which was an actual increase over fiscal year 21. But let's put that in perspective. 18.5 million, 17.3 million in 21, 30.8 $3 million in 20, $36 million in 19, $37 million in 18, $40 million in 17, $44 million in 16. So obviously there's something happening as it relates to our boardings, our systems, our customer counts. COVID was certainly significant in that, where we saw that 43% drop between fiscal year 20 and 21. But this is one of the elements that we are doing certain things in order to mitigate as we go forward, or to basically manage. I want to tie that in with our workforce update. And your current workforce update shows that as of August of 22, for bus, for example, we had budgeted 789 people. We had active 631, 158 people short, a 20% shortage rate. We started giving you this information back in October of 21. At that time, we were short 12% for bus. So things aren't getting better, and there's some things that we are doing today that are going to help us to deal with these situations. Just some other examples: Metrolink was down 4% in 21, October of 21. Currently, they're down 13%. Colorado was down 30%. Now they're down 35%. Even with our mechanics overall, for example, our electromechanics were down 23. Now they're down 29. There's something happening. This attract and retain issue is certainly important, and we're doing some things in order to address that. But I think we also need to do some things to right-size our operation to make best use of the resources that we've had. And I want to talk about some of the approaches that we're taking in order to do that. One approach, of course, is the attracting and retaining talent plan that you approved today. And certainly it's going to be beneficial to have things like paid parental leave, child and elder care subsidies, tuition reimbursement, student loan subsidies, Bonfire. This Bonfire app is extremely important to our being able to communicate with all members of our team, to make sure that everybody is on the same page about the things that we're trying to accomplish in this company. And of course, the Wellness and Advocacy Center is a big plus. One of the other things that is in process, we are going to have a system pick, a service adjustment in November 28th of 22. We're going to change some of our service options. We're going to try to match our resources, our human resources, with our ability to provide service. We want to basically eliminate missed trips. You've seen stats over the months on how many trips we've missed, and it's really a result of not having the manpower to meet them. So we're going to make some adjustments so that we can eliminate most of that. The worst thing we can do is to have people waiting and we don't show up. That will mean that we may change the timing on some of our routes, on some of our runs, but it's better to be there in 30 minutes versus not being there at all with a 20-minute promise. So we're going to make those changes going forward. In addition, we're going to shift some of the originations of our routes from our Brentwood to our Bolivar garage. Our garages are capable of handling probably twice as much service as that we put out of them right now. During the flood, we had the opportunity, I don't know if it was an opportunity, we had to move significant service from Brentwood to the Bolivar because of the flooding situation. Actually moved all of our service out over there for at least 2 days. and it worked. It worked. We found that we found efficiencies in doing that. So with this system pick, we're going to move some additional routes over to over to Bolivar, and we're going to do that on a trial basis and see how it works for us going forward. We're also going to initiate Metrolink service out of our 29th Street facility versus the Missouri Metrolink yard. So all Metrolink service will be coming out of 29th Street, which will facilitate, one thing it will facilitate is the restoring of our Metrolink Blue Line service all the way to Fairview Heights. As you know now, it stops at Forest Park, and we're going to be able to initiate that route all the way through so that we can kind of time things up in our connections with bus. So those things are going to be happening as a result of our system pick service adjustment in November. The other thing that I'd like to bring to the table or update you on as a result, again, to change we're trying to implement. We are in contract negotiations, as you know. Basically, we are focusing in these negotiations on providing the compensation, the benefits, the incentives that we need to provide our union partners in order to make them or to motivate them to come to work the hours that we need them to work, to do the things that we need them to do in order to provide the service that we are promising to provide our customers. Currently, ATU, we have an extension, as you know, through February of 2023. We have meetings scheduled every month until then, and we are having those meetings and they're being productive. And I'm hoping that, well, my personal goal is to try to wrap these negotiations up in October. That may be ambitious, but I'm going to try to do that. IBEW, we had an extension through September 15th, which has expired. We're kind of deciding right now, do we need another extension? Short term, we could do to October 15th, but we really want to put on the table, and we are considering options in order to just close this contract out. We have 4 options on the table, including some one-year options and reopening, and some 2-year options, a 4-year option. So there are various things that we're considering right now. Our team internally is reviewing these options before we present them to IBEW. Our finance team is working very diligently to make sure we cost out all of the ramifications of these deals. So I am very encouraged that our negotiations are going well, and that we will resolve some issues going forward that will help us to provide the service that is required. So that is my report. I'll stop now, and I will be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Any questions for Chuck on his report?
I've got one, I guess. I mean, we're at a point now, and I know everyone's doing everything they can. And, you know, we had the board stepped up and had the referral bonus program about a year ago. And then we even opened the book on wages and increased the wages prior to even entering bargaining for the extension. And then we have the temporary. So we've raised wages twice in the last year. And then we have the referral program. And then we're going to have these additional measures that we're talking about today as far as parental leave and such. And I support all these things. I want to know are we hearing other things from other, similar agencies around the country for how they're dealing with driver shortages, with operator shortages? Because it's my opinion that this operator shortage is the biggest problem that we're facing. And it's concerning that, despite spending more money and paying folks better, which we should be doing, it's not going down. So are there any other ideas out there? And I guess this isn't really a conversation or a question that can be answered necessarily right now, but I'm sort of frustrated, and not with the team, but just with the result. I don't know what else we can do.
You know, I agree, Commissioner. It is frustrating. It is a very difficult situation. All other agencies are having the same problems. What we've decided is that we need to focus on what we have. We've made projections about what our labor force is going to look like over the next 6 months. It's not going to necessarily improve. So how do we provide the best product that we can with what we have? Now, given that, if, you know, for example, on our bus operators, we are budgeted for 789 operators. We are effectively using 600 right now. So maybe that's the standard. Maybe that's where we are right now. And if we can provide the service that is required with 600 operators, I've got money to pay them more. I have an opportunity to increase wages and benefits under the understanding that we have right-sized this operation. And so that gives us some latitude in terms of those wage increases. So that's what we're doing now. We're positioning ourselves to provide service at the levels we're currently at, and we will use those funds that are freed up by lower numbers of employees to incentivize our current workers to stay and to produce.
Thank you. That's an interesting solution, a different way to think about it. So I appreciate the creativity and all the work your staff is doing. I know this isn't easy, so thanks.
Any other comments for Mr. Stewart?
Yes, unfortunately, it's a national issue, and we can debate the Fed's actions all day long, whether or not they're trying to reach sustainable maximum employment by forcing people back to work, but or is that Congress's job? But the point is, this is an issue, as you said, Sam, that's faced throughout the United States by employers like us and like the others. So it's a tough situation.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to thank Mr. Stewart for what he's doing. I mean, he's trying. Again, I'm new enough. Everything's new to me. So what I'm seeing is different. He's going in depth in areas that maybe he didn't, wasn't available previously, but he's certainly doing everything he can. He's short of disguising himself and trying to get, some clandestine information in some way. He's making every effort, although sometimes there are rumblings, sometimes there are themes, if only this, if only that. But I'm sure he's got everybody's ear to the ground, listening for that thing that can happen or that change that can be made. So I just appreciate your effort and how you're progressing in spite of the difficulties that you're facing.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart? I'd like to just say earlier this week, Mr. Roach and I had a meeting and kind of briefed me real quickly on some of these issues that Chuck and him and the team are going to do, and I've challenged them to continue to keep the pedal to the metal, basically, because we do have to come up with some hard decisions. And I know from talking with Mr. Roach that that's what him and Mr. Stewart are going to be doing. And I assure the commissioners that in the very near future, I think you'll be seeing some of those suggestions come to play that are going to be hard decisions. But as the commissioners, I think we have to take a look at what is best for the agency. And Mr. Roach has assured me that that's what him and Mr. Stewart are been doing and going to continue to do. So I applaud you, Mr. Stewart, for the initiative that you're taking. I know there are hard decisions out there, and what you and Mr. Roach are doing is above and beyond what I think any of us dreamt that we were going to be at. So thank you again. That was for informational purposes only. Next item. Myra, would you give us
if I may just interrupt
Yes.
you for a minute before So I apologize. I missed a couple of items very quickly. First, Commissioner Galladay joined us very shortly after the roll was taken. I'm going to ask Myra to recognize that. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner Galladay. But also, I forgot to mention that the Emerson Park contract, which is really a St. Clair County Transit District project, but it's one of those joint projects. So that'll be built on the Emerson Park site, but it includes both a security office and a OCC, so an Operations Control Center 2, which really supports these kind of innovative efforts that Chuck just talked about, for instance, centering a lot more of our train movements at 29th Street when we have an OCC2 location at Emerson Park. It's absolutely critical. So these are the kind of innovative ideas, building those partnerships. Very excited that the Transit District is moving forward with the award of that contract, and that means that we all move ahead together. So thank you, and I apologize for missing those two items, but that's it. Thank you, Chair.
No problem. Thank you. And we're excited about that project. It's been a long time in the making, and thanks to the state of Illinois, the governor, then we're going to be using that money for a good cause. Myra, would you give us the upcoming meeting dates, please?
Yes, the next Safety and Security Committee meeting will be held on Thursday, October 6th. The next Operations Committee meeting will be held on October 14th, as well as the Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee meeting. The next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Friday, November 18th. All of the meetings will begin at 8:30 a.m.
Fine, thank you. At this time, the only item for consideration for the executive session agenda is the approval of the minutes of the August 11th, 2022 special meeting of the Board of Commissioners executive session. The committee reports can be distributed electronically. If there are no corrections to these minutes and no discussion is needed, the board could proceed to a vote without going into an executive session. What is the board's pleasure? Is there any comments?
Let's vote.
I like that. Thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
Okay. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Myra, a voice vote, okay?
This one will call for a roll call.
Thank you. Would you proceed?
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Windmiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Galladay,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Beach,
Yes.
Commissioner Gladney,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons.
Yes.
The motion passed.
Thank you. If there's no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So move.
Second.
A yes vote, okay, Myra?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, ayes have it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.